Hello, today we're going to discuss the basic web page control of the Brennan 3 CD ripper and player. So the first thing we need to do, of course, is to find out what the IP address is of your Brennan. If you just play with the knob a little bit, change the volume one spot, the IP address will show up in the top left corner. Okay, with the IP address, we want to go to the web page, go to your favorite web browser, go to the URL line and type in http:// then the address that you saw on the front of the Brennan. In my case, 192.168.1.117. And it should come right up for you. In some cases, your browser is going to object that says it's not secure. The reason it's not secure is the Brennan doesn't use secure protocols, and just say, okay, trust it, and go from there. Okay, so if we look now, we see different panels. I'm going to call them panel 1, 2, and 3. The one on the left, the one in the center is 2, and the one on the right is 3. Okay, the first part in the top left of panel 1 will actually show you the current status. So right now my hard disk is paused, it's going to play a track. This is showing the output level. Right now it's not playing, so there's no output. The volume and the time within the track. So if I go ahead and hit play, you may or may not hear it, but it's going to start playing, and you can do the obvious things, adjust volume and whatnot. If you click on something like the track, the rest of the displays will change. In this case, the album display will show albums by the artist Rogers, and it will show you the actual album and all of the tracks on that album. That's what panel 3 will always do. We'll show you the albums and the tracks for one of those albums. Okay, underneath the time, basic controls that will go over first is stop and play. Same symbols you see everywhere. Next track, previous track. The double arrows is random play. When it's off, it'll just play the album. When it's on, it's going to play random songs throughout your entire collection. The record button is something new as of February 2023. This will actually allow you to record in a digital file some sources of music. It could be the internet radio, could be a podcast, it could be from Bluetooth, or it could be a streaming input that you're getting from somewhere else. So right now it's off because it will not record CDs. Tracks that are already recorded, there's no reason to record them. Okay, one other key portion of this top left panel is this cog or gear, depending if you're from the old country or the new country. When you click on that, it's going to give you your settings and status. The settings, your status is in the top. You're using a B3 version of software and the date of that software on the first line. Currently, the most current version is 14 February 2023. It will tell you how many tracks there are, how many albums there are, and how many artists you have. WAV files are raw files. They are the largest. FLAC files are compressed But from there, you can exactly duplicate a WAV file. So this is called lossless compression. And then MP3s and AAC files. All of those are different types of music. The capacity of my unit is 2 terabytes. I've only used 5.85 gigabytes. And currently I do not have any USB stuff attached. The YouTubes are a remnant from a previous model, the B2, and currently not implemented on the B3. If you want to see your memory usage, you can click on that and it will give you some statistics. The numbers to the right show the maximum number. So in the case of artists, the maximum number I can have is 6,000 different artists. Most people aren't going to go to that extreme. So those numbers are pretty big. Okay, then you have some options. Segue mode. This is the pause between tracks. If you have it off, it's pretty much going to immediately start the next track. If you have it on, there's going to be a pause, or you can choose a short pause. Your choice. Scan disk is a very important function. Basically, it tells the B3 to scan all the files and create a new database. Sometimes the data can be corrupted or just not tracked properly. Scan disk is one way to fix a lot of different problems. So Sonos devices, I don't have any Sonos speakers. So this is how you set up Sonos speakers. The next line determines how the web page starts up. Automatic is going to remember the last mode you started in. The different modes are just below. Or you can force it to always start in mobile mode or on desktop mode. Currently we are on desktop mode. I'm going to leave it on automatic. If you force it to mobile, you'll see that most of the screens disappear and you have just the panel to show what's playing. Big picture actually allows you to change the size differential on the left on panel 1 so that you can see the picture larger and some of the other stuff is smaller. Notice that I don't have all of the time in tracked information now. I just have the volume. And then this is telling you that nothing is running in the background. There's a debug log that you can look at. Not very interesting unless you're having problems. Okay, so that's what the settings and status do for you. Okay, in the bottom side of panel 1, you have a number of different options. Playlists are just that. It's going to show you the different playlists that you have an option of. Recommendation at this point is do not use any of the colored ones. The reason being that there has been a long-term bug in the software that causes those to be easily compressed. The 3 dots on the right will allow you to do a number of different things. You can rename playlists, you can delete playlists, create new playlists, combine playlists, and assign it to as a preset. We'll go over presets in a few minutes. As I said, we do not want to use the colored ones. Don't even rename them, just ignore them. So we can also combine playlists. When you combine playlists, you can either append, subtract, or merge. What I end up doing is some of the playlists that I use a lot throughout the year, I will append the Christmas playlist to it come the end of November. After Christmas is passed, I'll subtract my Christmas playlist from it. That way I have Christmas music playing with all the rest of my music around Christmas time. You can do that any holiday or whatever. Okay, so that's what playlists will do for you. Just a quick demonstration. If I go ahead and just click on Moody Blues, you'll see that I have a lot of options, a lot of albums. So I can take an album and I can bring it out, drag it over, and drop it down, and now that entire album is part of my playlist. Or I can go to one of the albums, pick a song, and I can drag the song over, and just that song or track is going to be added to my playlist. I can also do it for artists. I can bring in the entire artist as well. Just drag and drop. Okay, a CD will let you play the CD that you put in the machine. So here are your presets. They have different presets that you can use. The first 10 are filled in by default. You can change them. So the way you would change them is to start, say, a radio station playing. So we're going to jump to panel 2 for a moment here. I'm in the US, so I'll click on North America and the United States. I happen to live in Hawaii right now. We'll go ahead and play public radio. Okay, the first thing you'll see is it is buffering. When it's up there at 90%, it will actually start the voice and you're playing. To add this to a preset while it's playing, go ahead and hit the plus arrow or the plus symbol, and it will add it, Hawaii Public Radio, to that position, and now you have a preset. Okay. Upload. Upload allows you to upload files from your computer, from your desktop, or whatever you're running the browser on, but generally it's going to be a desktop. Bulk upload allows you to update multiple albums if you want to do that. They still need to be in the proper format. Go to the Brennan web pages and make sure you understand the format they need to be in. Or you can upload specific files. I use this a lot when I'm ripping, in that I can upload a new cover art for an album. So when you click on the name of the album in panel 3, it will actually show up in panel 1. You can choose the picture you want to upload the normal way, in my case Windows does it, and then you can send it to the Brennan and it will upload it into the directory appropriate for the Hall of Fame, the Moody Blues, and you can upload cover art. One thing about cover art, we'll go ahead and start the Moody Blues playing. The picture that you see playing in panel 1 is what's called the embedded tag for the track. Every track can have an embedded cover. It's called tags. Find out more if you want, but it's inside the music file and it shows up here. The Brennan also has a coverart.jpg or JPEG file in the directory of tracks. That picture shows up here, and they can be different. In my case here, they're not different, but they can be different. And you could have a different tag on every track if you felt so desired. Okay, so that's panel 1. I've described all of panel 1 now. These symbols here will show you all the artists. I can turn that off and on. I can show you all the albums that I have. And those are all the albums that are there. I can turn that off and on. I can combine them and show both. You'll see little heads next to artists. You'll see CDs next to albums. And of course, I also have tracks. So if I scroll down, you have musical clefs, musical notes next to all the tracks. So you can do either one. Whatever ones are turned on are what's going to be searched. So if you're looking for a track, then you go ahead and type in a word. In this case, I chose blue. So it's going to catch a number of them where I have the name of the artist and the track in the file name for the track, but it also have Blue Guitar and Blue World, which are other songs that have the word blue in them. Go ahead and clear that, and all of them come back. Okay, right now we're not doing YouTube at all, so there are no videos to search. This is the same web browser that's on the B2, which is the previous model, and that supported some YouTube integration. The sort order allows you to do alphabetical, reverse alphabetical, and also the order that's internal to the B3. Not always clear why, but that's the order that is given. This last option allows you to search only the playlists. So I'll turn that on, choose all of these options because it's a pretty small playlist. Okay, and then I can do whatever searching I want at that point. And it will search letter by letter. So here I started the word blue, and it went ahead and searched and found the one artist called the Moody Blues. Okay, vTuner. You saw me try this a few moments ago to bring up radio stations. vTuner is a service that the Brennan equipment uses to stream and find the streams from many different radio stations around the world. So again, you can click on where in the world you are, you can click on a country. Here's Connecticut. I used to live in Connecticut, so I'll go ahead and click on that. And I'll click on classical, and there are the Connecticut classical radio stations that you can play. And put in your presets if that is what you want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and click on USB, and that's going to show you that I have some music on this USB stick. It actually has a lot of other files, but I have an export directory, and I have 2 sets of files in it. So I have some Queen music, go back up, and I have some Helen Reddy music. From here, I can actually import them into the B3. So I'll go ahead and click on that, and I immediately get a status window at the bottom. It's importing the music. There's track 4. Okay, it had 22 tracks. I mentioned cover art before. It has a cover art picture. And these are 2 files associated with the import session, a disk ID and a table of contents. Okay, now if I come back to the main menu, you'll see that Helen Reddy has been added on the B3. Also, you'll notice that after I put in the USB stick, I have some orange heads. Anything that's on the USB drive is scanned separately and is signified by using a different color. There's a limit to how many files will be scanned. So if you put on your entire backup, if it's large enough, not all of the files will be visible. You can play those, but you cannot add them to playlists. So now I have a new artist with 1 album and 22 tracks. Okay. So now on the right side, pretty straightforward. You have artists, it's Helen Reddy. It tells you which one you've clicked over here. and then you can click on the album and it will show you all the tracks. So what you can do here is a little bit of editing. Okay, you can delete an album, in this case. You can add it to a playlist, you can rename it. You can get the artwork from MusicBrainz or get the artwork from Amazon. Or you can actually click on it, double click on it, and it will show you that you can rename the album and rename the artist if you want. Okay, if you happen to rename an artist to somebody that already exists, that's fine. It will put the album in that existing directory, which is good. You can add more albums under Helen Reddy if you have that. Okay, you can also double click on a track and then you can rename that track. For the Brennan, you want the first 2 digits to be a number, in basically a track number. That way it knows which one is first, second, third, fourth, etc. You can also combine tracks into the same album with multiple CDs. The general way that you can do that is by putting a number in front of the 01 in this case and make it 101, 102, where that 1 represents CD 1. You make it 201, 202, and it represents CD 2. If it's more than 10 CDs, then you have to use 2 digits, 0101, 0102, etc. And you need that leading 0 because you want them to be in the right order when you type in 10. Okay. If you click on the album picture, you can upload to that directory. So this is where I could change the cover art. And that is pretty much the entire WebUI. I hope you find this useful. This is your go-to tool when you're ripping CDs, and we'll cover that in a separate video. Thank you very much. So I did some recordings earlier today. Basically, you start them when you want to start them, and you click the button again. It'll say stop recording when you want to stop recording. What the Brennan will do is if you record from Bluetooth, it will say create an artist called Bluetooth. When you record from a radio station, it will create an artist called the name of the radio station. If I look at that album, it will be album artist Bluetooth. It will have an album called Recordings, and then for each track that you record, it's going to tell you the date and time that you started that recording. So you can play that recording back, keep it. If you have editing software, you can edit it. For the radio station, it's exactly the same thing, only the artist name has changed. It still has recordings, and it still has a date and time. So if I go back and start it again, it will create a second track and go from there.